Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of Living Life with Momentum. We discussed in our first session that momentum is not always about movement. There are so many things that come to us in life, and so often we find ourselves so busy that we forget to put ourselves on the calendar. It's as though our energy gets scattered. It is scattered. We feel scattered. But that's not what I want to highlight here. What I want to highlight is momentum is about growth. And it's about personal growth. It's about spiritual growth. And it's about awareness, like we talked about in session 1. But most importantly, it's really about the acceptance of where we find ourselves right now. My name is Susan Dykes, and I am on the call with Psychic Deborah Graham. Mrs. Graham will be coming on in just a few minutes. But before we get started into session 2, I'd like to take a few minutes and help us all just settle in. Let's do a slight meditation. Settle in. Let's let go of all of today's events. Let's forget about our to-do list. Let's forget about our inner critics. And let's just be present with where we're at right now. Let go of those inner critics. Let go of the tension that you may be holding in your ankles, your shoulders, your stomach, the lower back. Just settle in to where you are right now and just sit with it and appreciate it. We suggest you not listen to these sessions while driving, as the meditations, deep breathing, and other exercises may actually be distracting. This is a time for you to get in touch with you. As you're sitting there letting go of the day's events, I invite you to take a deep breath in, a breath of new, fresh air. Allow this fresh air to expand your rib cage upward and outward. As you breathe in, I want you to silently tell your soul, I accept you in this very moment. This is a very important point. If we want others to accept us, we also have to accept ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our ups, our downs. As you take this breath in, take a deeper breath in, expand it outward, upward, downward. Allow it all to manifest, to liberate, to actually express and receive. Exhale. Take a slow, deep exhale. Exhale all of the air out that you can, and allow this exhalation to calm the nervous system. You may suddenly feel like your body is accepting the thanks for the brief moment. And in this brief moment of nothingness, as you exhale, let go of all the tension. Thank that tension for holding you up today. And then accept the fact that it is okay to let your guard down for just this one moment. Relax and just be. Any thoughts that may come through, allow them to just pass through. Let them know you'll be available in 1 to 2 hours from now to go back and listen. But for right now, I want you to acknowledge the idea that you made choices today. And you're making a choice right now. You're making a choice to either get out of your head and come down into your body, to ground you into the present moment. Or you can say to yourself, I'm uncomfortable with the very idea of this inhalation and exhalation. You can resist it. Either way, you're making a choice, and you have to honor the choice you're making. Your momentum for growth or resistance in this one simple act of breathing will dictate how you feel not only about yourself, but how flexible you are in change, how flexible you can be with yourself, how compassionate, how accepting. You can honor each part of you. The whole idea of choice is acceptance, and there will always be some things that we can or we cannot change. We can change our clothes, we can change our hairstyle, we can change our food choices. We can change all of these things. We have that choice. And in life, there are some things we cannot change. We cannot change the color of our skin, and we cannot change the color of our age. Those things we have to accept. But the question is, how easy is this choice for you? How easy is change for you? And how much energy right now are you using to resist the very change in the momentum and growth that you desire? As you continue to breathe in and out, I ask you to accept yourself for who you are in this very moment. Some of the choices you have made in life you may regret. Let that regret go. These choices have gotten you to where you are right now in this very moment. In our last discussions, some of you drew pictures that showed you felt like you were in the mud. Some said they were overwhelmed. Some put expectations on calendars. Let it go. Accept everything as it is right now. The less we resist change, the more our body can thaw. When it thaws, then the anger, the regret, the sacrifice, the inner critics, they no longer have a hold on us. Why? Because in this very moment, we're deciding to come out of our lower will. We're coming out of our ego. We're coming out of our codependence. And we realize that with each choice we make, we can begin to honor ourselves. We no longer have to lie to ourselves or live in the story. And suddenly it's as though a light bulb has suddenly come on. This light bulb is there to not only make us aware, but with awareness, it brings the acceptance. This is one of the most important points to finding your momentum in life. Accept that you're in the mud. Accept that you're overwhelmed. Accept that you're taking a risk. That's what life's all about. With the acceptance, there's the realization of I matter. And if we want others to accept us, we must first accept ourselves. Let's bring these things out right now. Deborah Graham, Mrs. Graham?
Absolutely. Opening up that door is going to lead you in the right direction, because this is what you're here in this earth to do, is to learn, to take chances, to take risk. As the energy flows through your body, through your soul, through your vibration begins to shift. You begin to get connected with the color blue, because we're going to really use blue as our connection and our momentum today in this session. As we are opening up to today and what we want to bring us our tomorrow, this is what's giving us the strength to become all that we can be. Whatever it is that you've wanted to be, whether you've wanted to be an engineer, be a teacher, be a leader, work for the National Guards, whatever it is that your dreams are, be a writer. You have the power, and the power lives inside of you. As these doors are opening up, the new beginning is coming, but you must shed through all of those fears and all of those layers, and allowing your center of your soul becoming more balanced. And as all of those blockages that we have carried in our own physical body, whether you're having pain in your head, your neck, your shoulders, your lower abdominals, you're feeling overweight, underweight, you're feeling bloated, you feel like you just can't get out of the mud. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter, because you're going to clear it out. You're going to get free from that. You're going to empower yourself to really use that vibration to really make choices, because that's what life is about. It's about choices. You didn't have to come back on this earth. You chose to come back onto this earth. Or if you've never been on this earth and this is your first life, you came here to learn. So you're at the right place, and you're doing exactly what you should be doing. If you've made bad decisions in your relationships, you've made bad decisions, business decisions, whether you've been hurt, whether you've been abused, or whether you've been the abuser because you was abused. Whatever abuse that you've been through or you are abusing, get yourself out. Change that channel. Get rid of the static. Get rid of the noise. As we calm ourselves down, we invite ourselves to become more energetically, empathically connected. As we become more present, We lose the despair. We lose the confusion. We lose the anger. We make breakthroughs. We're breaking through. We're shedding. The world is in the palm of your hands. And by inhaling all of that good, clean air, healing energy, and allowing this energy that I am ascending to you right now at this very moment to really take and embrace you, to give you that power of creating that voice. That's why I mentioned early, the color blue is so important, because I'm opening up your voice. I'm opening up your voice to really speak. Because so many of us speak, but can we really speak? Are we really paying attention? Are we really listening? I want you to become aware. Some of us, our mouths get very dry, and sometimes we feel thirsty all the time. And we feel the dryness in our mouths. It could be that you're not getting the thirst that you need for your soul. It could be that you're letting your mind run your life when you need to control it and get out of the story. Don't listen to your mind. Don't listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. This is your true intention. And this is what I'm trying to teach you. As I am now your teacher, your healer, your mentor, to help you create this new space, this new adventure, because we're on an adventure. We're on an adventure in our lives. Just like we go to the movie, we watch a movie to take us away from our problems. Some of us go to retreats. Some of us go to parks and go to merry-go-rounds and riding and finding that and just feeling like a child. This is an adventure for you to stay focused and be present and really connect with your inner child. And how do you connect? And how do you get open? And how do we get out of the story? It's by believing in ourselves and believing that we can. We can because we are able to. We can because we feel. And sometimes we feel ashamed to tell people what we really feel. And others talk too much and they tell you everything what they feel. But whatever that is, you have to turn the energy around and really understand that we're here to make our choice. You make your choice whatever you want. But you got to learn little by little, bit by bit, that the doors will open. But you can't make these choices in one day. You can't expect that things are going to just fall in the palm of your hands and think that everything's going to happen when you want it just because you said, I want it. It doesn't work like that. It happens in layers. And I've learned that when you get something too quick, too fast, it's too overwhelming. When you have to work harder for it, you actually honor and trust, and then you start to obey your own feelings, and you start to listen and really become more wholeness within yourself and start to feel more creatively balanced and start to feel in control of whatever it is you want, because then it lasts forever. It's like weight loss. You might lose weight quick and fast, but it's going to come back real fast or real quick. So, for instance, let's say you're having a relationship with somebody, but you don't feel like that person's giving you what you want. And you don't feel like that person's really giving you what you need. Because, as we spoke before in our last session, sometimes you want things right now, but that person's not ready, that partner's not ready. Because sometimes where you're at and where they're at, you're in two different places. So you have to give things to mature. It's like a baby. It doesn't pop out. It takes 9 months. This is a process, people. We got to get with the program. Nobody died and made any one of you king or queen. You have to deal with these. And when you get up there and you get to that high level and that high place, you have to remember to always be grounded. It doesn't matter if you're famous, you're not famous, you're a famous writer, a famous singer, a famous whatever. because you're human. We're all human. Be humble. Take time making your decisions, but don't stick in the story too long. Because sometimes when we're sticking in the story too long, then we talk ourselves out of things. Don't talk yourself out of something. If it feels right and it feels good and it feels connected with your gut, well, damn straight, do it. Be the leader, not the follower. Susan?
And it's interesting because so many of us are followers, because so many of us are looking for support from others. And part of honoring yourself is realizing that you do not need the approval of others. That's a hard thing to learn because many of us, I go back to the movie Pretty Woman, where Julia Roberts tells Richard Gere, it's so much easier to hear and accept the bad things rather than accept the good things. It's much easier for us to hear, oh, you can't do this or don't do that, or no, I don't want you to do it that way, I want you to do it this way, because it takes the emphasis off us. It actually lessens our power. But it's really about finding your personal power and not being afraid of that personal power. When Richard Gere told Julia Roberts that he saw so much good in her, I believe there was a tear that was shed. The goodness is within you also, but it's harder for us to receive that because we've heard it for so long and it's stuck in our belief system. It's stuck in our limbic system of our brain. And what we need to do is change the tape. We have to believe in our own goodness and our power without needing the approval of someone else in order to gain the momentum we really want to have for self-compassion and self-acceptance. The picture that you see on your screen, it has a pair of hands where there are more positive things: compassion, engaged, calm, friendly, inviting, attentive, curious, welcoming, observant. And those hands are holding on to what some would consider an emotional weakness: misery, despair, sadness, heartbreak, suffering, agony. We have to accept both parts. We talked about already being aware and being aware of both the emotional parts of ourselves, the spiritual parts of ourselves, the mental parts of ourselves. We have to get in touch with all of that, and the way we do that is through the physical part, which is what we did last week. But we have to have a united power between all of these different energies in order to feel balance. And the throat chakra is what actually gives us some of that. Because the throat chakra is actually about honoring yourself. It's about actually telling yourself you're a good person. Telling yourself, you know what? I have integrity. It's about listening. It's about talking to yourself. And a lot of us talk to ourselves already, but so many times it's the inner critic that talks rather than the good, caring side. And we're always at that balance of, well, what's good and what's bad, because what's good for one may not be good for another. Anger is sort of good for me, but anger may be something that you really do not like to go to. You're uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, I want you to accept yourself, and I want you to smile through the mud. I want you to smile through the discomfort. I want you to smile through the overwhelm, because this is where you really start to honor yourself. You start to look at both sides of you, whether it's the masculine, the feminine, the yin, the yang, the light and the dark, whatever you refer to it as. You have to accept all of it, because the momentum will not get there if we're fragmented. And in order to heal the fragments of ourselves, we have to embrace the full part. That's why I chose this picture for this week, because our good part of ourselves holds on to what we consider the less good part of ourselves. But it's the less good part of ourselves sometimes that actually helps us grow and helps us get through times of change and get out of our comfort zone, because until we get out of our comfort zone, we're never going to change. In order to thrive, in order to grow, we have to be tolerant of all parts of ourselves. And right now, as we're going through this, get a piece of paper and let's do a little exercise. because I want you to write down during this next week, or you can do it right now, how many times a day you criticize yourself. How many times a day do you listen to other people's criticism, other people's disapproval of yourself, other people's less than gratitude, responsibility, or reaction to you? How many times a day do you pay attention to that? And how many times a day do you pay attention to the good part of yourself? I believe it's going to be a little lopsided somewhere. But when you start paying attention to not only how you criticize yourself, but how you interpret or perceive other people criticize you, then you start to come into your own personal power of what you will and you will not accept anymore. That's a very important piece to understand, because at that point you really start to work with integrity. You really start to honor your own self and your own word. And when you give your word to someone, it is about honoring it. So many people these days do not honor their word. That creates disappointment, because while we may be living with integrity, not everyone else is. But we can't judge them and we can't change them. The only thing we can do is be aware of our energy when we're in the presence of that person. Mrs. Graham?
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Susan. And the reality is you got to put integrity for yourself. And getting back to where you wanted them to write things down, they need to write down their goals of the things that they look and they want to be able to achieve. So this is your time to really write down those things that you really want, but make it where your goals are not just about you, it's about others. It's creating a unity. Because if you could have the world in the palm of your hands, just like this picture is up, where it's the hands holding it together, that's your energy being held up. But if you were the only person on this earth and there was no one else there, but you had everything in the palm of your hands, anything you wanted, you had everything at the reach of your hands, but you were the only person, it would be pretty boring. So this is your time to not be selfish and think, I want to do this because I want this for me. I want to do this because I want to make it so I can help other people. I want to give back so I can help other people grow. I want to learn how to grow and have the acceptance to do all the things I always wanted, and to feel appreciated, but to also feel loved and feel grounded and feel at peace so I can do the things that I want, and understand by me being successful or being able to create this project, build this business, open myself up, whether you're a singer, no matter what it is, when you play for others. This is what life is about. Life is a gamble. You take a gamble. You play for others. You live for you, yes, but you also live for others. And things are out there sometimes that we don't pay attention to. So next time you're out, whether you're going to work tomorrow, the next day, whether you're going to the grocery store, whether you're going to a movie, I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to the things that are around you that maybe you haven't paid attention to. And just be aware. That's what I'm trying to teach you, to become aware. When you become aware, we're using that part of the brain that most of us do not use, awareness. We all know how to say it, but do we really know how to use it? I'm trying to open up your untethered soul to create a new space, a new beginning, a new connection in your soul. In order for you to be all that you can be and really connect, pay attention. Look down. You might see pennies from heaven. You might see a dime. Pay attention. The messages are out there. The doors will open. If there's something you want and there's something you need, go for it. Don't stop, drop until you get it. If it's a relationship you want, fight for it. If it's that job you want, don't give up until you get it. If you really want to be the best, you have to keep fighting towards it. It's a process. The proof is in the pudding. It's out there. You are it. You are it. You are it. You have that potential to create it. You have the power to own it. You could work as much or as little as you want. Think about it. Even if you were to win the lottery, would you really stop working? Most people would say, hell yeah. But would you really? What all good would it be if you didn't share it? What all good would it be if you just stood at home all day long or just traveling alone? You want to keep working till you could get to that next level. I don't care if it's charity work, volunteer work. You want to continue building it. Build it and they will come. Ask and it shall be given. Seek it and you shall find it. And as those doors open, because we're talking about doors, this is what this is about. One door closes, don't give up. Don't be like, I've tried, it didn't work, it didn't go the way I wanted it. I'm tired. You know what? Give your permission to yourself to be tired. Give yourself permission to go out on that walk. Give yourself permission to not do anything. If you feel, I'm tired, I got a funny feeling today, I don't want to go out, connect with your Gita, connect with your gut, connect with your inner child, connect with that third chakra. Connect with that energy. What does that energy feel like? It's a feeling. It's a feeling like where sometimes you might feel heartburn. Like, for instance, I used to drive up to an office that every time I used to drive up there, I don't know why, I used to get heartburn. Couldn't understand why. Happens every time. Every week I would go, I would be fine all the way through. So I got in the car and started driving there. Heartburn, heartburn, heartburn. I'm like, what is this? I had to pay attention. It's because I wasn't supposed to be there. There was an energy there that was not resonating and connecting. It was stealing my energy. I finally connected with it. I figured it out. Moved from that office, cleared out that energy, went down that same path. No more heartburn. So your body has a way of telling you stuff. You get a headache because there's tension somewhere in your life. You get a stomach ache because something's not right. Maybe you overate. Why did you overeat? What made you overeat? Because you wasn't getting fulfilled with something you were looking for. So you got to ask yourself, what is it that is not serving me well? What is it that's not healthy in my life? Is it something? Is it someone? Or is it myself? Once you identify with that energy, then you'll know who's robbing your energy. You have allowed yourself to rob your own energy. So you're going to change that energy and you're going to connect to that energy and get released. Because sometimes things don't always go the way we want. But remember, something old has to shed. Sometimes things have to die. We end things. We know this, that we came in this earth for a contract. And it hurts to know that when somebody you love and care about isn't paying attention, isn't listening, isn't looking, or isn't here anymore. Whatever that is, everything that happens for a reason. But you don't just stop and put the covers over your head and just stay in the bed. You open your eyes up and you say, you know what? This has given me an opportunity to live and do something even stronger. So the more the doors close, the more stronger you're going to get. And guess what? That's going to allow you to have more doors to open. Susan?
And it's interesting, Deborah, that we all negotiate with ourselves. We're asking you to be aware. We're asking you to accept. And Deborah's talking about going out and playing and doing all these kinds of things. But each one of us has a negotiation routine with our own self. And in that negotiation, we tell ourselves, oh, I really don't need to do that. Oh, yep. You know, my spirit's calling me to actually get up and move, but you know what? I think I'll check Facebook one more time. Or this game of solitaire looks pretty good right now. How are you negotiating with yourself so that you hold yourself back? Because those negotiations are going to tell you exactly how you're stopping the momentum in your own life and how you're staying in your comfort zone to avoid moving forward. And it's interesting because, we talk about the feeling in the body, and sometimes when spirit's trying to get our attention, it feels like a shaking from the inner core. We can be just as calm as a duck floating across a pond on the outside, but inside it's as though everything's just moving at a great momentum, but yet our physical body is still on the outside. That shaking on the inside is a spirit warning you to move and to grow and be confident with each step you're taking. You don't know what the end result looks like. That's okay. You have to honor the calling even when you're not sure of what the end result looks like right now. You're only asked to step one step at a time, which is one way of honoring yourself. Here's another exercise for you. How do you honor yourself? Remember, it starts with the smallest of things that make the biggest difference. For me, I honor myself by realizing that there's no task out there more important than me feeding myself good food several times a day. If you know me, you know that I only weigh 100 pounds. I can't afford to miss many meals. But it took me a long time because I was anorexic at one point in my life. It took me a long time to accept that my body needed nourishment, and it was okay to stop my to-do list in order to fix me something to eat. You'd be surprised what that does to clear the fog, to clear the anxiety, to ground you back into your body because your body really begins to appreciate you. It's the smallest of things that we do that help us honor ourselves. Giving ourselves rest, giving ourselves food, putting ourselves on our calendar, giving ourselves recharge time, whether you're an introvert who needs quiet time or an extrovert who needs social and high vibration and concerts and the deep bass of a music, whatever it is, I want you to take out a piece of paper and write down one small thing you can do right now to honor yourself, because that is going to let your inner spirit know that you're going to take care of yourself. Even in the midst of pain, even in the midst of emotional turmoil, you're going to take care of yourself. And that's how you change your perception. That's how you change your story. That's how you smile through the mud, you smile through the overwhelm. It's okay that other people may not like the fact that you took 10 minutes to go outside and take a deep breath, or you took 10 minutes to eat. That's not your issue. That's their issue. Maybe they're jealous because they didn't do it and they're not honoring themselves also. When we honor ourselves with our fifth chakra, it's really interesting because the organ associated with the fifth chakra is the thyroid gland. The thyroid sets your metabolism. It is what adjusts your energy up and down, and it works with different parts of the brain that get activated by memories and emotions, traumas, reactions, actions, and most importantly, choices. But it also, part of the thyroid is the parathyroid gland. And the parathyroid actually helps to regulate our calcium in our body. And the calcium comes from our bones. And why am I walking you through all this? Because there's a pattern here. The bones are the most dense part of our body. They go back to chakra 1. They go back to whether or not you're grounded, you're confident, or whether or not you're staying in survival mode with every anticipation, every expectation, every fear there is. The question is, who's holding you up? Because in that parathyroid gland and in that honoring of yourself, through your speaking, through your listening, through your word, you're actually creating new beliefs for yourself. And you are the one who is most important. It's not all about you, but it is about how you treat you. The vocal cords, the ears, the jaws. How tight are your jaws right now? What words are you holding on to? And if you're holding on to regret or anger or sadness or fear or guilt or disappointment, and it's showing up in your jaws, then you haven't quite accepted what's going on at this particular moment. Go back, honor yourself, choose one thing, one small thing that you can do differently that will make a big difference in your life. Stop sabotaging. Stop listening to the inner critics, because we have to overcome the fear of our own personal empowerment. And the way we start to do that is by honoring ourselves with integrity, living up to our word, embracing where we are right now, and accepting anything that's happened in the past, and making choices for what we want right now in this particular moment. I was watching a TV show the other night, and they were talking about a dance routine. And the guy said, I want you to go outward from me, and then I'm going to pull you back in. It's as though you're taking care of me to put me back on my feet. That's what I'm asking you to do right now, to make that choice so that you create the boundaries. If you're uncomfortable with the shaking on the inside, that's okay. Create whatever it is you'd like to create without expectation, one step at a time. Mrs. Graham?
Absolutely. No expectation. Just go with it. Sometimes the more you think about it, the more you worry about it. Can I do it right? Is it going to work right? Is it going to be right? The more frustrated you get. Then once you just do it, it's done, it's over with. It's like a shot. You know you're going to the doctor and you have to take a shot. Sometimes we sit there and we worry more about what the shot's going to feel like. And then after you take it, it's like, oh, that didn't hurt at all. So if you can just get out of the story and just really let down your wall and really be present and really let the universe give you that abundancy to share it, to love, to grow, to connect with the Earth's atmosphere. And that brings me right to what I want you to do is I want you to plant the seed to your soul this week. So what I'm asking each and every one of you is to plant the seed to your soul. And what I mean by that is I want you to plant a flower. I don't care if it's red, yellow, blue. I don't care if it's a purple. I care if it's white. I care if it's red. I want you to plant, and I want you to plant the seed to your soul. I want you to plant into the earth, rooting your soul, rooting your energy, and planting that seed and allowing your life to grow. This is a symbolicness because you want to create that energy. You want to get the muscles moving. You want to get the energy moving. And your body will have that nurturing given to it when you plant the seed to your soul and let it grow. Put your intention into what you want, whatever it is you want, a happier life, a stronger marriage, have a family, have a healthy relationship with yourself, have more money, be more positive, not be so negative, not walking around and not smiling enough. I want you to plant it and you nurture it and you let it grow. And if you don't have a yard that you can plant the seed to your soul into, you could even put it in a planter pot and just plant it. I would love for you to get something that is already has a little bit of bulbs on it, a little bit of greenery, flower, something with color. I don't want straight green. It's got to have some color because this is the color of your energy, the color of your soul. It doesn't have to be one particular color. Be a flower that has 3 colors in it, but put color into your life because you don't want to see things black and white. You want to see things with color. You want to feel the color. You want to feel the soul moving. So plant that seed and watch it grow. Plant that plant and watch it connect to the earth, to your soul, to your body, to your spirit, to your own energy. Allow your mind to be free. Allow your soul to be fearless. Allow your heart to be open. Stop blocking yourself. Stop living in fear. Stop living in the past. Can't does not exist. You can, you will, you are. You are confident. If I didn't think you had the power to do this and you did not have the growth and the spiritual connection, I would have not taken you on. I wouldn't have wasted my time and leading you to nothing. But if you don't take action and start listening, it's only going to make things harder. In fact, smile. Smile this week. Show those pretty whites. Even if you wake up in a bad mood and you're like, I feel like crap today. Smile. And say hello to the neighbor next door. Say hello to the person next door to you if you're in the line, getting a cup of coffee. If you're at the grocery store, you're going to have to go out and go do something this week. Say hello to a perfect stranger. Try something different that you don't normally do. Let your energy be open. Let your mind accelerate to use the vibration of the earth. You have the power and it's inside of you. You have your intuition. It's there. We all have it. It's just that some of us are more developed than others. My gift didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took years and years and years. But it was there from the beginning. I learned something new every day. And you will too. If you only believe. Fairy tales do come true. If you believe. Yeah, Cinderella might have been a big fat liar because there is no perfect, whole, and complete knight in shining armor out there. But guess what? Love is out there if you just believe. You got to have some kind of faith in something, but your faith needs to begin with yourself. There is no perfect relationship. There is no perfect career. There is no perfect anything. Everything is work. It's called trial and error. This is how you get the energy to move. This is how you get the energy to create. And really understanding your power, your passion. When you're passionate about something, do it. Whether you're making money at it or not, love what you do. It's not all about making money. It's about being centered. It's about being connected. And it's about believing. And the fairy tale is you. You are your own fairy tale. But you have to have that visualization. And some of us, it's so hard for us to visualize, to awaken, to have that momentum to grow. And sometimes we need coaches to help us. And, you know, even when you go to a gym, you see all the equipment and you're like, okay, I can do this. And you get on there and you're like, I go home and you kind of like sprained your arm. Some of us break our legs because we didn't know how to use the equipment correctly. Well, I'm teaching you how to use your equipment. You have your equipment. You were born with this equipment. It's inside of you. So let's bring it out and let's put our hands to our stomach and let's bring our energy together. Put our hands to our stomach and just kind of rock back and forth and let that energy flow. Just like you were rocking yourself asleep when you were a baby, whether your mother held you to sleep or whether she put you in a rocker and a carrier, just rock that energy forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Just keep rocking with your hands to your stomach, relaxing your mind, relaxing your soul, relaxing your spirit, opening up your heart, opening up your voice, using that blue, surrounding yourself with the color blue, surrounding you, connecting you. As that energy goes around and around and around and around. You're allowing the awareness. You're allowing yourself to feel no fears, no worries, no doubts. You feel complete. You are awakened. And most of all, you're present. You're present with the things you want. You're present with the things you came here to learn. Whether this is your first life, your last life, or whether you've been here many times and you choose to come back, it doesn't matter. It's okay. We're just all trying to get connected. Opening up that vibration, opening up that awareness, that power from within. Allowing all of your fears and emotions to be gone. Let go of all the obstacles and blockages. Eliminate that. Allow your spirit to be open and be ready and be awakened. I want you to take a deep breath and inhale. Stop rocking. And just bring that energy in. You still have your hands to your stomach, and just exhale, 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 exhale. And relax. As now I lead you to the light and away from the darkness. As we connect our energies as one, we are one. We are one soul, one body, one mind. We are connected. And as that connection begins, your journey begins on earth as it is in heaven. Your doors to your soul begin, and you let your fears go. And as we're going to leave you with a food for thought, I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete, my wishes are my command. Woo! Amen. And we're going to talk to your soul, your spirit, your energy, and allow your voice to be open. Susan?
It's interesting that you mentioned that you are your own fairy tale. I was watching Dancing with the Stars just a few nights ago, and Lynn, I always loved Lynn, even though he's a big critic, but he made a statement. He said, the ballroom waltz is like dancing with your husband or wife. He said, the Argentine tango is like dancing with your mistress. It's the mistress part of us that so often is the inner spirit that we never listen to because we're afraid he or she's going to get us in trouble. I'm asking you this week to find your inner mistress. What does that inner soul really want to do? Because when we talked about earlier, writing down the compliments and the criticisms that you hear throughout each day this next week, I want you to also be aware of which ones of those propel you forward. Because a lot of times when someone criticizes you, all of a sudden the ego steps in and the willpower steps in, and you just are like, I'll be darned if anyone's going to get the best of me. Let go of all of that, because willpower alone will burn you out in a heartbeat. It will burn you out and drain your energy because you're playing right into the hands of someone else. You have to find your passion. You have to begin to compliment yourself because this is going to increase your energy both vertically and horizontally. And this is going to change your perspective and your perception of who you really are. And that's very important because when we actually talk about honoring the fifth chakra, we're actually trying to overcome the fear of our personal environment, our empowerment. This all works with the third, the sixth, and the seventh chakras, but what fears really actually shut you down? I can tell you this, that when I have a family ailment or sickness in the family, all I can think about is trying to help them and fix them. I can't fix them, I can't change them, but I can hold space for them. What I have to learn is to accept that part of me that is the compassionate and caring one for the family, the one who always came to this earth believing I have to fix the family. I can let go of that belief. I can accept that belief. But at the same time, I cannot let it control me so that the rest of my day is shot. I have to learn to manage that part. But that is one fear that will shut me down. What fears do you have that actually shut your energy down? Because in those fears, you're going to draw that energy inward, you're going to draw that energy downward, and you're going to not want to get out of your comfort zone. I'm telling you, you have to get out of your comfort zone because that's the only way that you're going to find your momentum in life. That's the only way you're going to find your mistress and what your spirit really wants to do. Now, if this mistress is telling you to go out and drink all night, party all day, and be irresponsible, then you're living in a lower will. When we talk about honoring ourselves, we have two sets of wills. We have the lower will, which resides in the lower part of our body, and we have that higher will for our highest good and the highest good of others. That's where we give our word and we keep our word. The lower will cause us to do things that sabotage us, our addictions, our habits, our jealousies, our competitions, all of those kinds of things that go along with survival and reaction. I'm asking you to find the mistress part of you that deals with your highest will. And I'm asking you to honor that and listen. Because remember, the fifth chakra is about listening more so than it is talking. So often we're trying to come up with an answer before anyone finishes their question. Listen. And if you hear something 2 or 3 times, that is Spirit's way of trying to get your attention. And I give you an example. Claudia is not a common name, but I have heard the name Claudia 3 times in the last week. I don't have any idea who Claudia is or what it represents. However, I'm aware of it and I'm accepting the person who may come forward because Claudia may have a message for me. Claudia may be an energy vampire, whatever it is. The fact that I have listened and heard it repeatedly, that is Spirit trying to tell me something. I don't have all the pieces to the puzzle right now, and it won't stop me from finding momentum in life, but I am aware and I am accepting to whatever message Claudia happens to bring. If you hear it or you see it multiple times, that's Spirit. If it's a critic, let it go. This is where you have to decide what's real and what's not real. This is finding your personal power. This is honoring yourself. And when we get to this week's homework assignment, I've included something in there that I thought about the other day when I was with my mom in a rehab. They were playing bingo. And it's been a long time since I played the game of bingo. It can be a fun game. It can be a slow game. It can be whatever it is I want to make it. But every time that the announcer would call out B2, B14, B12, my mind would automatically go to that age within myself. And I would either smile or I'd be like, oh, wow, B14, I don't want to be a teenager again. But I had to accept the fact that at one time I was a teenager who was very uncomfortable in her body, in her environment, in her life. Let's heal those parts of ourselves because I'm going to ask you this week in the homework to pretend you're playing bingo. I want you to choose a number. Be some number. Be that age. Take yourself back. See what you feel. Accept what happened. Accept how it made you feel. Accept whether or not it was a critical time. Accept whether or not it was a complimentary time. And then the last thing on bingo is every time she would say, be one. I'm like, be one what? Be one with yourself? Be one who cares? You fill in the blank. Be one what? So that's part of your homework. Another thing for homework this week is to wake up each morning with a grateful heart. Count your blessings. It's not the material we're after. We're after the more internal depth. And the more we wake up with a grateful heart, the more we can realize we have everything we need in this particular moment. You're going to notice the criticisms. You're going to notice the compliments. How well do you receive them? How do you react to them? Do they motivate you? Do they collapse you? I want you to notice those feelings. And what does motivation really look like to you? Do you feel supported? You can answer that question because motivation looks different to everyone. I'm a mental person. Motivation to me is learning something new and being able to put it in layman's terms to put it out to others who may be interested. To other people, motivation looks like running a 10-mile race. I'm not that person. Choices. I want you to look at the choices you're making. Are they ego-based for recognition and approval? Or are they heart-based, honor-based for a higher will? And then I want you to list the ways in which you negotiate with yourself. Do these negotiations keep you in your comfort zone? Do they boost your energy? Do they make you procrastinate or avoid what Spirit may be telling you to do? This is a lot of homework, but it all goes along the same vein, if you will. Then Mrs. Graham is going to have you plant a seed, and she also wants you to drink the hot water. She mentioned a retreat earlier. I'm asking you to take a retreat. Step off the world for just a few hours, get this done, accept who you are in this very moment, and honor yourself.